Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. It's a special treat that you are joining us. Thank you for choosing GEAPS. Our webinar is entitled Cloud Solutions to Automate Grain Inventory. It's such an important topic. We'll get into all the details of that in just a second. But first, I wanted to tell you about a couple items here. Of course, you may know that we have the annual event, the biggest event in the grain industry. It's called the GEAPS Exchange. It's taking place February 25th through the 28th of 2023 at the Kansas City Convention Center. You can sign up. Just go to jeeps.com or jeeps.com/exchange. So excited about that. We also have a new channel, if you have not heard about it. It's called Whole Grain, a podcast presented by GEAPS. It's an audio interview program, an audio conversation on relevant topics in the industry. So check that out. You can do that in a number of places to take learning on the go. And you can do that by going to jeeps.com/whole grain. You also can find that on podcast apps such as Pandora, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon Music. We're out there. Just do a search for Whole Grain and you can find that out. Some really exciting episodes. And then also we have the GEAPS video library. That's where video recorded sessions of webinars, past webinars will be there. You'll find this one in about 24 hours from now. So you can share that with your colleagues. Also, we have other videos there from things outside of webinars, I think that you'll find very valuable. So check out that. And finally, we have an opportunity for you to connect with our presenter here for today and share your insights and inquiries and comments and questions on topic. And so we'll have the opportunity to do that in the comments section. So that's a great place for that. I'll make sure I'll read those off and help our presenter with that. And we will have a couple polls that will have you participate in throughout this presentation. So I am very excited to welcome BinMaster here. They are part of the division of Garner Industries. And our speaker for today is Mike Mossage, and he is a guru of instrumentation and cloud solutions that make people's jobs safer and easier through the application of automation and technology. He is the guy to show you how to simplify grain inventory with sensors, software, and wireless devices to make real-time accurate inventory available wherever you need it. He's a 21-year veteran of Garner Industries and BinMaster. He's now regional VP of sales, and Mike literally got into grain as a product manager for the revolutionary 3D level scanner. He's worked with large grain and ethanol operations, solving the most complex inventory issues in the biggest bins. Mike works directly with storage and processing facilities, contractors, distributors, and OEMs in the Eastern U.S. territory, helping companies from all industries, making their inventory so much easier. Mike is also a GEAPS member and alumni of the University of Iowa. So let's go ahead and welcome Mike. Mike, thank you so much for leading this conversation.
Thanks, Jim. I appreciate it. Good morning to all of you, and thank you for taking time out of your day to watch today's presentation. Of course, I'd like to thank GEAPS and Jim for hosting today's webinar. They've been a good partner of ours for a number of years. As Jim mentioned, today's webinar is going to cover our solutions for bin inventory monitoring, with a good deal of the time dedicated to our cloud-based offering. So a little bit about BinMaster. As Jim mentioned, we are a division of Garner Industries, which was founded back in 1953. We started producing the BinMaster product line. It actually started with a simple pressure switch in the late 1960s. We're located in Lincoln, Nebraska, and we also do component manufacturing, which would include custom plastic injection molding and CNC machining. In fact, we produce a number of components for our BinMaster products in-house, which has really helped us avoid some of the supply chain issues that many of you experienced over the past few years. Of course, we're a GEAPS member and an exhibitor, so we hope to see all of you in Kansas City there in late February. And you also see us in grain milling and processing journals. Okay, so let's simplify your inventory. The image here shows our NCR80 radar level transmitter tied to our bin cloud gateway with your inventory displayed on our BinView site on the tablet and our app on the smartphone shown at the right. Okay, now we're looking for some participation from you, the audience, in the form of a poll. So do you have level sensors on your bins? Your options are not a 1 on some bins, but not all, on almost every bin, on every single bin, last and hopefully least, you don't know or care. I would hope you at least care since you've signed up to give me a half hour or so of your life, but please answer honestly.
All right. The poll is now open. Folks are actively making their one single choice here. Okay, we're going to conclude the poll and share the results.
Okay, so it looks like the majority of you have indicators on some, but not all of your bins, followed closely by not a 1, but you haven't tried them, but you are curious. And then we've got, wow, some of you, 13% here, have them on every single one, which is great. And then almost every bin. And then last, and maybe I influence the poll with my commentary, there's 0% that don't know or don't care. Okay, so moving on here. So some of the struggles that you face in taking grain inventory. The climbing of ladders can be unsafe, and even stairs or catwalks, especially in the winter months, can be treacherous. Accuracy can be an issue with manual measurements. It's certainly more art than science. I've had a number of people tell me that, they could send 3 different people up to measure the same bin and basically get 3 different results. And the last 2 here are kind of tied together since time is money. For some of you that have many bins and silos, the inventory process may take, several hours to complete, tying up plant personnel that could potentially be working on other projects. So we would like to help you put the climb, the tape measures, and then the manual spreadsheet entry in the past. Okay, so simplifying in the cloud, we have various sensors for bin measurement, which I'll cover in more detail here a little later. And our IoT devices will take the sensors readings and push them to the cloud. So you're able to access the data on a smartphone, tablet, or PC, or anywhere you have internet access. We also have communication devices available that allow you to send that data to several locations in addition to the cloud, such as, you might have a plant, a DCS, PLC, an HMI, or maybe you need a local display for plant personnel to see at a glance, or for truck drivers to see as they're entering the facility so they know what you have for capacity. So why the cloud? Well, it's secure, safe, and easy to use. The data is going to update automatically, as often as every 15 minutes. It doesn't require IT or servers, and we have the ability to bypass the local network or even a Wi-Fi network altogether, thanks to our cellular data plan option. And the installation is fairly simple, so it limits the number of resources required for setup. And our annual subscription for the cloud is very affordable, and updates are rolled out to you at no cost. Our development team is always looking for ways to improve and add new features, with their ultimate goal, just like ours on the sales team, is to try to make life easier and simpler for our end users. So you have the data that you want to see in the format you want to see it in at your fingertips. So more on Bin Cloud. Your data will be secure in the cloud on AWS using the latest security. The customization and user privileges allow your administrator to determine the data that each individual user gets to see. For example, you may have employees at the corporate level that need to see all plant locations, such as in accounting or finance. Well, maybe a purchasing manager at an individual plant only needs to see their local inventories. Another great feature, once we see your communication gateway online, we handle the setup of the site from our facility here in Lincoln, which includes, entering your bin dimensions, the capacities, and then customizing the individual views. So here's where you'll find bin cloud in use. Farmers, we've really seen quite a spike these last few years in on-farm installations, and then also in liquid ag chemicals. The feed industry is a big user, be it for poultry, swine, or pets. And then, of course, any kind of general grain storage and ethanol, you'll find bin cloud. Really anywhere you need that information 24/7 at your fingertips, you'll find bin cloud. Okay, time for more audience participation. Where will your bin data provide the most value? Here are your options. On your phone, which we know you're going to use responsibly. In your control room tied to an HMI or PLC. Sent to someone else, such as a corporate office or another location, or to a supplier, maybe in a VMI or vendor managed inventory scenario, or to a computer in your office, or maybe you're not exactly sure as of yet.
All right, the poll is now open. You may begin. You can have more than one response here. Unlike the last one, you can have multiple responses if you wish. Your responses are quickly coming in. Thank you very much for your participation. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'll end the poll. And Mike, I'll share the results. You can talk about that.
Okay, so it looks like first up, with about 63% of you want to see it in the control center. We have an office HMI or PLC, followed closely at 52% wanting to see inventory on a computer. And right behind it, 48 is on my phone, wherever you happen to be. And then sent to somebody else at 30%, and then about 3 of you not exactly sure. So we appreciate your participation. It certainly helps us tailor the information that we're providing to you today. Okay, so a little bit more on data access. On the left, you'll find some of our options for local displays, which, as I mentioned earlier, it's nice for truck drivers or plant and personnel for at a glance readings, like I said, near the silos or in a control room. In the middle, you'll see some HMI screens, which you can take our sensors to, as we offer, all the standard protocols that you're used to, 4 to 20 analog, Modbus, and HART. And, you're certainly welcome to take the signals from our sensors to your own system. As we saw in the poll, a number of you were interested in just going to a control center through a DCS, PLC, or a SCADA system. And it's certainly not a requirement that you tie our sensors to our displays and or software. And on the right here is a view of the cloud-based bin view on a tablet. Now moving to the sensors that will be doing the work here and monitoring your vessels. The old reliable SmartBob cable-based sensor is a good option. If you don't need truly continuous measurement and you don't mind product contact and an electromechanical device, it's pretty common to mount the SmartBobs where you had previously been taking manual tape measurements. So at that point, at least you have the data at your fingertips and there's no need to climb and drop a tape measure. In the center of the screen, you'll see our 80 gigahertz radar transmitters. Our compact non-contact radar, or CNCR, is shown in the tank. That's ideal for liquid applications, and the NCR80 shown on the silo is our go-to for dusty solids applications. And then the 3D level scanner shown to the right, that's a good option for large diameter bins and silos, or those where you've got a regular material topography, because it's an acoustic technology that maps that material surface. So And then, of course, the 3D level scanner also performs well in dusty environments, again, thanks to that low frequency acoustic technology. Here you see our wireless and IoT accessories. The Bin Cloud Gateway, which talks to all of our sensors, pushes that sensor data to the cloud via a hardwired Ethernet connection, a Wi-Fi connection, or through a cellular modem. The gateway has another nice feature. You know, we'll frequently have customers that they want to go to the cloud, but then they want to go out to an automation system. So it actually has a Modbus server built into it. So not only are we going to the cloud, then we also have that Modbus output for interface potentially with the control system. And then the LoRa transceiver shown in the middle, that will transmit the sensor data wirelessly to the gateway, cutting down on installation and wiring costs. And then that analog expansion hub on the right is capable of taking about 16 4 to 20 analog signals and then transmitting that data to the gateway. One thing I haven't mentioned yet is that we are happy to integrate other manufacturers' sensors into our cloud-based platform. And it can even go beyond bin or tank or level measurement. We recently tied some grain temperature and moisture cable data in, and then liquid pressure sensors and pH monitoring sensors are also tied in on a large project. So it's kind of neat to get into some things that are beyond what we're supplying as far as the sensors go. A little more information on our cloud-based offerings. Generally speaking, Bin Cloud is the platform, and within it we have several views that lend themselves to specific industries. BinView was the original, and we still kind of use that as a catch-all term for remote monitoring. AgriView serves the agricultural world or anyone that sells to ag and stores grain, feed, seed, fuel, fertilizer, chemicals. And then FeedView is tailored to feed mills producing and delivering feed, as well as the individual growers that need to monitor their feed inventories. PitView, not to be confused with the popular video game of yesteryear, Pitfall, has features for monitoring animal waste pits and lagoons. Here are a few more screenshots of the Bin Cloud platform. On the left is FeedView, displaying levels at a remote swine operation, I believe. And then the tablet on the right is a co-op where we're monitoring propane tanks. And I guess I got a little ahead of myself a few slides ago when I mentioned pulling other manufacturers' sensors or other types of sensors, such as temp and moisture cables, into the cloud. These propane tanks they're actually measured with another manufacturer's technology that reads the tank dial and then transmits that data with a cellular modem. Another nice feature of Bin Cloud is there's automated text and email alerts that can be sent, at predetermined levels. Generally an alert when you need to refill when you're getting low on product, and those are unlimited. Once you're on the platform, you can send as many of those as you'd like to, as many users are on the platform. And I can't honestly say that these guys here shown at the bottom of the center are really looking at Bin Cloud. To me, that might be a game or something, but so another thing within Bin Cloud, we're able to pull multiple sites in. As you see here, it's a little bit hard to see on the screen, but this particular company has 3 sites that are shown here, and then the bin data for all 3 of those sites. And you're able to, with one login, you're able to see all sites potentially. Again, we can actually limit that. As I mentioned earlier, you may have some that maybe at the corporate level, maybe on the accounting or finance side, that need to see absolutely everything. You may have regional people that just need to see a handful of sites, and then, plant personnel that they're just concerned with their own location. So we can customize that. You're able to sort by material, and then also location, as well as the status, such as, arranging the bins. Maybe start with those that have the most material to the least material, or vice versa. And then you're able to manage those materials between sites. Some other features here on the screen, you'll see some trend data that shows the activity of a couple vessels over about a week's worth of time. And that data, will always remain in the BinCloud platform, so you're able to go back and look at trends and historic data. And it's also, we have reports that are exportable to Excel or PDF. And you're able to run a specified date range or go back to a specific period of time to see what your inventory levels are. A lot of you are required to take inventory levels maybe at the end of the month or end of the week, whatever the reporting period may be. Maybe that falls on a Saturday at midnight when the plan isn't staffed, so you're able to go back to that specific time and see what your inventory levels are. And then, of course, the reports are, like I said, exportable and can be easily shared over email with others. So, why do people go the BinCloud route? And some of this I've mentioned already. It's secure, safe, and simple to use. The accuracy side of it, of course, and then the automatic updates. We're able to get around IT or servers with the cellular option. And again, once you get past the installation, you won't have a lot of interaction on the setup side of it. As I mentioned, once we see your communication gateway online, we're able to pretty much set up the whole entire site from here. So then your next step is just to log in and start using it. I showed you some of the wireless IoT options. Of course, that will reduce your wiring, conduit, installation costs. And scalability is something I don't know that I'd mentioned earlier, but there's no need to dive in with a complete facility if that's not something that's a corporate objective or in the budget at this time or what have you. Everything is scalable and expandable, which is nice. So a lot of times once you have the gateway, the communication devices, the communication interface, what have you, then it's just adding more of the level sensors at that point. And then, affordable annual subscription, and then the free software upgrades as we work on improvements. And again, on the upgrades, we've had, our customers have really driven a lot of the new features that we're adding to the cloud-based offering. I had one not long ago that tracked all their inventory by the number of trucks that they could fit in a vessel. So our software team got to work and developed that truck metric in BinCloud in relatively short order. So we're small and nimble enough to implement those changes relatively quickly, and we do really welcome customer feedback because that really guides where we're going in the future. And we are here with you for the long haul. Upgrading of existing systems, and that would include not only BinMaster equipment, but tying in other manufacturer sensors, as I mentioned, even beyond level. That scalability, and our sensors that we do provide are very reliable and robust. It's not uncommon to get 10 to 15 years of life out of the sensors. So, and then once we've moved forward with you and you're even past the installation, the initial startup, we're not going anywhere. Got a full tech support team here, chat and phone support's available 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And beyond that, we also do on-site support as well, ranging from startups to just examining existing systems and certainly answering any questions that come up. And here's the team. One thing I wanted to point out that I think is important in today's world is there's probably 4 of us on the screen here that have been with the company 20 plus years. There's a few others that have been in level controls that long. Then we have some nice youth sprinkled in as well. So, like I said, in today's world, you don't find people that stick around with the company that long. I think it says a lot about how we do things here at BinMaster, or maybe that's just a nice way of saying some of us aren't so young anymore. Again, thank you. I appreciate your time. You have my contact information. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out via email or phone. And again, Jim, thank you, and thanks to GEAPS for sponsoring this today. And I'll turn it over to Jim.
Oh, Mike, thank you so much. What you're talking about is so important to the grain industry. So you may have some questions, maybe some comments, inquiries. Please use the chat at this time to send those to us. Mike will be able to address those. And of course, you have his contact information on the screen, and also can send the slide deck to you as well. And this will be available for playback. So there's a number of things I thought really stood out, Mike, that you shared and that BinMaster and Garner Industries does so well. Number one, as everybody should be, we're concerned about safety. So these can be life-saving measures, just generally keep people and organizations safe. So that's just an incredible tool that you have. Right away, you brought up questions about or comments about you actually make some of those injection molds. I actually didn't know you did that at BinMaster. That's just a really smart move, I think, with the supply chain and just being able to help provide, I'm sure, best prices for your customers. Accessibility is huge. Flexibility is another thing that BinMaster really has done well. And there's such a move in talk and discussion about industry 4.0 or agriculture 4.0. This certainly fits right there. And BinMaster is a leader in automation to providing great support out there. Now, and of course, the state of the workforce, there's a worker and staff shortage. This helps support that as well. And what I thought was neat, and I don't see this often, is you provided a business case. How can I present this to my manager? So you had a slide up there about that. You may want to contact Mike here and BinMaster after this and members of his team to help you in that business case. So that is terrific. So I am going to go ahead and take a look at some of these questions here. And looks like we got a number of them, I think. Yes, we can provide access for the slide deck and recording to the participants. One of the things is that it will go in about 24 hours to the video library of GEAPS and on the GEAPS.com website. So thank you for your inquiry about that. So they'll have easy access to that. One question that came in here right now, Mike, is how many plants can we connect? Good question.
Yeah, good one. And the answer to that, it's really unlimited. Once you get on the Bin Cloud platform, it's just really a matter of as you add new sites, just adding the sensors and the communication gateway. And we really don't have any limitation to the number of sites that we can pull into the Bin Cloud platform.
Is it a monthly or is it an annual subscription?
Sure. Good question. The subscription is annual, and we don't have a lot of secrets. So the subscription annually, it's $60 annually per level sensor that you would have. There's no charges beyond that unless you go that cellular route. There is an annual fee just for the cellular data plan, which varies depending on the number of sensors that you're tying to the gateway, and because that's going to dictate really how much data you're going to use. So, if you're pushing the data to the cloud through your Ethernet or through a Wi-Fi connection, it's $60 a year per sensor. And then if you want to, bypass your network or your Wi-Fi network, and go the cellular option, then there is that cellular plan. And like I said, that varies pretty widely depending on the number of sensors that you have.
Great. Another question, do we need to update the software or something? Is it difficult to do so?
Actually, it's very easy for the end user. What we do, Basically every quarter, maybe not quite that often in some cases, but we roll out updates to the system, and those are just automatically rolled out from our facility here in Lincoln by our development team, and there's no effort whatsoever on your part.
Fantastic. And I like the customer service that you offer. Great, great opportunity there. Now the question, Mike, do state inspectors or auditors accept the readings, or will they still want to climb and measure? Interesting.
Yeah, that's a great question. And it really, from what I found, really depends on the auditor. What I found is the SmartBob technology. I know in some instances, it's just a fancy tape measure, so they'll accept that reading. And even with some of the non-contact technologies that are just reliable as dropping a tape measure, I think some will accept those readings as well. It just kind of varies depending on, where you are and who's doing the auditing. Even if they won't, accept, so to speak, any of those measurements, I have found that if you have, whether it's the SmartBob, the NCR80 radar, the 3D level scanner, I do think that automation helps the process, not only because really you're kind of taking the human error factor out for something that has has a human error, certainly. Not only that, but just the historic data and trends that you're able to see. So I do think that having your own automation, your own sensors actually helps that process, whether they're, as I said, accepted, so to speak, or not.
Mike, we still have some questions coming in. Thanks for doing that. We'll get to those. So keep
Great.
entering those in. Looking forward, Mike, what advances do you see for grain bin management in the next few years? Is it a good idea to get started with cloud management today?
Sure, that's a good question. There's been quite a few advancements in the sensor technology really in the last 10 or so years with the high frequency radar as well as the 3D level scanner. One thing that I think in the future may be coming, we're always working on product development, so we're looking at some other options maybe for battery powered sensors or solar powered sensors as well. And that's maybe down the road a ways. As far as viewing the data, whether it's through bin cloud or a local display or our local software, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of that development, we're always, working to refine things. What's going to drive us there, as we continue to have more and more systems installed that are on the cloud is, our customers are going to drive us by telling us what they need to make things easier for them. Like I mentioned, the truck metric earlier, we have some predictive analytics as well, where on our cloud offering, we're able to predict when you'll be out of material or close to out of material based on the current inventory readings and your rate of use. And I do think that will continue to expand as well. So I think now's a great time. I think we've come a long way and there's only more good things to come.
Wonderful. Good to hear. How long will the cloud hold the data for?
So as of now, really, it's an unlimited amount of time that you're able to hold that historic data, because we know it is important when you're going back and then looking at monthly or yearly or even weekly inventories that you have that historic data. So the way we're storing that data as of now, you'll be able to go back from when you start using a system to see that historic data.
Go ahead and everybody and continue with your inquiries. We had a number of comments thanking you for your presentation. Thought it was a very important message and valuable and insightful and of course so relevant.
Great.
And I have a question for you, Mike. I think I asked a little bit a while ago, just to, folks may know, again, if you could share the impact that your product and services had across the globe?
Yeah, sure. And some of this I've touched on already. Safety's always been important, certainly at the plant level. But we're seeing even stricter and stricter policies, such as just no climbing unless it's absolutely necessary. In fact, just was it last week, I was visiting a company, a feed mill, and they said, when the cold weather hits, all we have for access, pardon me, to our bins, they're just straight ladders on the side of the bins. It's 100 feet. And, there's a lot of times from November to March or even April in some cases where it's just nearly impossible to get up there because of weather. And we're just essentially running blind. And that's where we come in. So, again, you've got that data at your fingertips, as well as the historic data that's really important for reporting. Another thing we've seen too is, a lot of times when a company is pondering whether to put in an inventory system, they form a team that's, you'll have accounting and finance, production, maintenance personnel, purchasing, information technology. And while all those cross-functional teams have been involved, we have seen a little bit of a shift. And I do think a lot of it's because of the cloud offering, where we'll have the information technology department involved earlier on, potentially, and then also the accounting or the finance side. And I think that more involvement from the IT and accounting side would tell you that, there's a little something for everybody in the cloud-based offering. So that's what we're really trying to do, is just to provide that data where and when you need it. Eliminate that safety risk, because, and sometimes it's hard to quantify, having that real-time data at your fingertips. But I do think it really helps in decision making. Sometimes we find those without inventory systems, again, they're running blind, or maybe you're a producer and you're keeping excessive amounts of safety stock just to be safe, because you do run blind sometimes. And, it ties up a lot of cash, of course. So.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm not sure if you can or able or interested in responding. Someone inquired about naming. Can you name, Mike, some companies that already use your product and service?
Sure, I can. I'm a little hesitant to do it in more of a public platform,
Yeah.
but if you want to reach out to me via email, I can certainly provide references. That's no problem at all. We've got a number of them, but of course I'd like to check for permission before I start handing out names. And then that personal contact too, that also allowed me to kind of tailor that reference to exactly what kind of facility you're at. So it means a little bit more.
Sounds good. And we'll look for some more questions coming in, but I do want to kind of restate here. I put a link in the chat for everyone. That is a link to our video library and our new updated GEAPS website. That will give you access to all past webinars. This one will be in there in the next 24 hours. So look for that. And that's a great opportunity for you to share this with the members of your team and your organization. If they were not able to attend, obviously not everybody can attend every meeting, but that's why we make that accessible for everybody. It's open to everyone now, and sometime in the near future, we'll be closing that and only making that available to members as a member benefit. But just wanted to give you a quick taste and flavor of that now, if you are not a member or if you haven't been there. So, we'll share in an email for everybody that has registered for the webinar. I know some people may be listening in a large room with more than one person here, but we'll make sure we get the message out to those who have registered. We have your email address, and we'll make sure you have access to get this and more information. So thank you, everybody. I do not see any more questions. Kind of went up and down the list, but they thank you. We thank you for joining us. Mike, BinMaster, we appreciate your support of GEAPS over the years and just really supporting the industry. More and more emphasis is going to be placed on providing automation, and that's important for a lot of reasons, as you shared. And if you want help with messaging to your team to get some of their BinMaster products, Mike and his team will be there to help you. Have their contact information, and we'll certainly have that in the following. So, Mike, thank you so much. Thank you, BinMaster. We appreciate your time spending with grain professionals all throughout the world here today. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it very much.
All right. Good day, everybody. Thank you so much.